As the battle between Dracula and Blade escalated, Dracula showcased why he is the most powerful vampire ever known. Slowing his speed to deceive Blade into a false sense of security, Dracula swung his right arm to backhand his opponent. Blade, anticipating the move, countered with a swift swing of his katana. To Blade's astonishment, Dracula had mastered the ability to transform not just his entire body, but also individual limbs into mist. Blade's katana sliced through empty air as Dracula's arm dematerialized. In a fraction of a second, Dracula rematerialized his arm and struck Blade with a powerful blow, sending him flying 10 feet into a wall. Smirking, Dracula declared, "This is what true power is, fledgling." Blade knew he was in trouble, but daylight was just a couple of minutes away. If he could just hang in there a bit longer, he might have a chance. Dracula immediately launched a powerful kick to his face, employing the same mist to materialization tactic. This time, Blade anticipated it and managed to block the kick, but the force of the blow left him with small fractures in his bones. He couldn't withstand many more hits like that. As the fight raged on, Blade began to hear dark, occult whispers in his head, urging him, "Make him bleed." For a brief moment, his vision and agility were heightened. He spotted an opening in Dracula's attack and took advantage of it, deploying a spring-loaded knife from his wrist. The blade slashed across Dracula's cheeks, drawing blood. Not many people know that Dracula possesses the power of blood manipulation. Even when wounded, he can weaponize his blood, and he did just that, creating miniature spikes that flew towards Blade. The spikes targeted Blade's arm, immediately wounding him. But then, something unexpected happened. The voices in Blade's head instructed him, "His blood is flowing in your bloodstream. Use it." Unbeknownst to Blade, he had a latent ability called contaminant transferal, allowing him to either reject or absorb contaminants into his bloodstream. Feeling a sudden surge of power, Blade instinctively utilized this newfound ability. He launched a spinning back kick at Dracula, managing to transform his limbs into mist mid-attack, though not with the same mastery as Dracula. Dracula was stunned. What had just happened? Could the Darkhold be behind this unexpected turn of events? The sun was rising, and Blade began creating holes in the walls, allowing sunlight to stream through. Dracula noticed the sunlight had no effect on Blade. "So you're the Daywalker," Dracula remarked. "I will join you soon, fledgling." Blade was puzzled by Dracula's words. The prospect of the most powerful vampire being able to walk in sunlight would spell chaos everywhere. As Blade continued to enlarge the openings, allowing more sunlight to reach Dracula, the vampire lord started laughing. "You still don't understand who you're dealing with," Dracula taunted. With his eyes glowing a brighter red, Dracula began manipulating the clouds, darkening the sky and summoning rain. Blade, realizing the gravity of the situation, attempted to strike Dracula down, knowing that this cloud manipulation required a great deal of energy from him. However, every time Blade swung his katana, Dracula transformed into mist and rematerialized, smiling mockingly at Blade. As the sky darkened with rain clouds, Wolverine suddenly burst into the room. "I can smell him. Where is he?" he growled. Blade, shocked and unaware of who Wolverine was, watched in surprise as Dracula remained calm, even smiling as if he had anticipated Wolverine's arrival. Dracula addressed Logan. "He's coming for you." Out of nowhere, Omega Red crashed into the room and immediately attacked Wolverine. Logan entered his berserker mode, engaging Omega Red in a fierce battle. Meanwhile, Dracula summoned the undead to deal with Blade, revealing a lesser-known aspect of his powers, necromancy. He could call forth soulless corpses and dead animals at will. The scene became chaotic, and Blade found himself in a fight for his life. The presence of Wolverine and Omega Red raised questions. Why were they here, and was this all part of a larger plan? Arkady Rossovich, known as Omega Red, was a Russian mutant with a violent history from an early age. As a mutant, Omega Red possessed superhuman strength, agility, and durability, along with retractable bone tentacles capable of draining the life force of his victims. He became forced into the servitude in the Soviet army, committing gruesome crimes, leading to his arrest and recruitment into the Soviet super soldier program. Endowed with cybernetic enhancements, he became Omega Red, wielding carbonadium-coated tentacles, enhancing his vampiric ability to drain life energy for survival. Carbonadium was a resilient radioactive metal that was vastly stronger than steel, but more malleable and cheaper than adamantium. The metal was developed in the USSR. Due to its malleability, carbonadium was less durable than true adamantium, but still nearly indestructible. This meant Omega Red needing to drain people's energy for survival because the radioactive substance was poisoning him. The only device that could stop this radiation was the carbonadium synthesizer, which Dracula had acquired and made a deal with Omega Red for exchange for Logan's blood that was unique and had the ability to change Dracula's skin to resist the sunlight so he could walk in daylight again. Blade was being overwhelmed as the undead swarmed him, each relentless assault pushing him closer to exhaustion. With the tide turning, Dracula shifted his focus to Logan, aiming to drink his blood. Despite this, Wolverine held his own, with his berserker rage enhancing his fighting skills and speed. However, both Omega Red and Dracula were closing in, narrowing the gap to subdue him. The tension in the room was palpable. Blade fought fiercely, cutting down the undead horde with each swing of his katana. Meanwhile, Dracula and Omega Red unleashed a relentless barrage of attacks on Wolverine, their combined efforts creating a deadly and unrelenting assault. The battle raged on with a relentless pace, each moment bringing them closer to a potentially deadly conclusion. Blade, watching Dracula inch closer to Wolverine, heard more voices instructing him. Instantly, he transformed his entire body into mist. The horde of undead, now confused, searched in vain for their target. Within seconds, the heads of the undead began exploding one after another. Out of the corner of his eye, Dracula was amazed by Blade's rapid mastery of this technique. In his gaseous form, Blade infiltrated multiple undead, causing their heads to explode from within. However, this tactic came at a steep cost. As the last of the undead were eliminated, Blade reformed into his human state, utterly exhausted and unable to move. His gambit had succeeded, but he was now vulnerable, drained by the immense effort. Blade, now helpless and unable to move, watched as an energy blast suddenly erupted between Dracula, Omega Red, and Wolverine, forcing them apart. Out of nowhere, Logan was sucked into a portal and vanished. Furious, Dracula turned his rage towards Blade, determined to kill him. But just as he lunged, Blade too was pulled into a portal and disappeared. Enraged by these unexpected events, Dracula seized Omega Red by the neck and said, "Find Wolverine now." With a powerful throw, he hurled Omega Red 20 feet out the window. Transforming into mist, Dracula vanished into the underground, leaving behind a chaotic scene, leaving unanswered questions. Who was responsible for teleporting them out? Share, like, comment, and subscribe for part 3.